Hey traders, quick video just to show you how to set up this study right here, the time frame continuity study, because I got a DM question about it, and I see somebody else that is having the same issue on Facebook. I know it's not the most intuitive study to use, so and I've talked about it in I think the other video that shows how to set these studies up, but I'm hoping to keep this one short and to the point. Time frame continuity study. So you click on that, and you're going to get this study here um, that looks like this. If yours does not have a number there and there, yours is not working. And it's not that it's not working because there's something wrong with the study. It's just that you didn't set it up right. So you actually have to configure, you have to set up the study for each chart that you use, taking the time frames that you are putting on the chart into account. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. When you select a time frame for your chart, in this case, we're using the hourly. You'll see that before that number, there's the number of days or the amount of time that is on the chart. So in this case, we have 30 days worth of data on this chart, and each candle is 1 hour. So anything higher than a month is not going to show on this chart. And so if we take the same exact study and we go under here under edit studies and we go in the settings and we ask it to calculate time frame continuity using the yearly, for example, you will see probably, let me think. Yep, there you go. You'll see it doesn't work anymore because there's not a year's worth of data on the chart. So it just simply returns nothing. NaN means not a number. It's kind of an error code that Thinkorswim does when it's just saying I got nothing. It's Thinkorswim's way of throwing its hands in the air and saying I got nothing. So you have to set up the study. You have to configure the study to use the time frames on your chart. So, for example, let's say that we want to load it on a 5 day chart, on a 5 day, 5 minute chart. So each candle is 5 minutes, and you got 5 days worth of data. When you load that chart again, you'll see that it's got nothing, right? Because we're asking it to go all the way up to the year, and there's not enough data for it. So what you'll have to do is, since it's a 5 minute chart, we're not going to use the 1 minute or the 3 minute because we don't even have that on the chart. It starts at the 5. So we'll start with yes on the 5, yes on the 15ers, yes on the 30. Oops, there we go. Yes on the 30, yes on the 60. You could say yes to the daily because we do have a day's worth, and you can even say yes to the weekly. But let me show you why I recommend that you don't in a minute. But let's go ahead and leave those on for now. For now, we're not going to have a month's worth of data on that chart, and we're definitely not going to have a year's worth of data on that chart. So we'll say no to those two items. And the study will work. It should work. Yeah, it will work. But you'll notice now that if we zoom out, maybe. You'll notice now that, let me clear my drawing set here. Here we go. So you'll notice that now you've got these lines that are much larger that go all the way across the screen from, that span several days at a time because we're going all the way up to the week. So what these lines are the beginning of time frame continuity in each direction, and they represent the open of some time frame. How does that work? Well, to understand it, you have to understand, for example, how these overlay charts work. You'll see that each overlay is a time frame. For example, there's the hourly, there's the half hours. I'm hovering over them, and so they highlight them now. There's the 15ers, there's the 5ers. Each time frame has its own open level, right? And that in the case of the overlay charts, that open level is either red or green, depending on whether price is or closed above or below the open. And I have that study on here as well, sort of a more condensed version of that study. But you'll see that those cyan and those magenta lines are here too, because The cyan line is the beginning of time frame continuity to the upside, and the magenta line is the beginning of time frame continuity to the downside. So if price is going to continue to go down, it has to continue to go below the open on every time frame. So for example, here we have this line that goes all the way across this big block here. This is 1 hour's worth of time. This is where this hour opened. It's where this half hour opened. It's where this 15er opened. And it's where that 5 minute candle opened. Okay. So the moment the price went below that open and never got above it, this became the highest open at this period of time. Okay. And so as price continued to open lower on this each successive 5 minute and 15 minute, right? See, that's where it opened on the 15ers. These are the 5 minute. As it keeps opening lower, in order for price to continue continuity to go down, it has to continue to go below the lowest open at any given time. And when it crosses above the lowest open but hasn't reached the highest open, there's conflict. So that's exactly what this time frame continuity study is showing you. It's showing you the highest and the lowest open, and it's just not showing you the overlay. So you don't know. I mean, you're not seeing the time frames blocked off like this in an overlay format, but you are seeing where those levels are at any given time. So if you're looking at the weekly, if you're telling it to consider the weekly open, it's going to consider time frame continuity all the way up to the weekly. So like for example on this chart, which is a 1 hour chart where every candle is 1 hour, and I have overlays for the month and for the week and for the day, this period of time here, this is now the highest open. This is the beginning of full time frame continuity to the upside. You see, for the weekly. But if we really want full time frame continuity to the upside, we also need to look at where the monthly open. So unless we can get above the monthly open, we don't actually have full time frame continuity to the upside. You see what I'm saying? And if we had the yearly overlay here, which if we could see it, we would need to consider that open as well to calculate whether or not there is time frame continuity to the upside or to the downside. So in order to use those higher time frames like that, that's why I developed these two different charts. There's an intraday chart that is basically a 1 minute chart with overlays all the way up to the 1 hour, right? And it has the time frame continuity study on there. And then there's the full chart, which is basically a 1 hour chart with overlays that go all the way up to the monthly. And for anything higher than that, then I just use the monthly, quarterly, and yearly. And see, for example, the yearly one is black because I don't have a year's worth of data. I only have 180 days, but I don't want to slow my computer down. So, if I want to see a year's worth of data, then I'd have to go here, time interval, and go down to 360. And you'll see that now, when it loads, now that little label, that continuity label, there it is. Now it's showing green because even though we don't see the yearly open, we are above it, okay? And we're above the quarterly open. So I hope this explains what these lines are supposed to show you. The beginning of full time frame continuity for the time frames that you tell it to consider based on the time frames that are available on the amount of time that is available on your chart. Okay. And if you just want the continuity labels, that's these ones right here that change color. All it does, it's one label, and it's just one study that I've loaded several times. In my case, in my platform, I called it Daniel Bones because I wrote it custom for him. But it's basically just looking at the time frame of the chart, and you select, and then saying where's the close, where's the open, where's price currently. That calls that close. Where's the open, and it if price is currently above the open, it paints it green. If it's currently below the open, it paints it red. And it tells you the time frame that you selected. You have to do one for each time frame. So here I have the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour. You see, there's one iteration of it for each time frame. That's a different study. That's a separate study that you're going to find in the continuity flex grid. So if you load this flex grid, Go in the settings and the edit studies page of any one of these cells, and there's the study there. I just changed the colors on mine so they're a little darker, but it's the same exact study. That's the continuity flex grid. But if you want those lines, that's this. That's the full time. That's the time frame continuity study. Just remember, you have to configure it using the time frames that are available on the chart and what you wanted to see, what you wanted to calculate. Okay. I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments.